Hello and welcome to Trust Your Glitter podcast. My name is Kristinabelich and I am here this week with the astrology of July the 17th through the 23rd. And this is going to be one of the biggest weeks of 2023 when it comes to astrology. So buckle in. I've got a lot of notes, and if disregard, I have a fan next to me because it is that kind of time. So if you're hearing a fan in the background, it's either that or flop sweat the whole podcast. So for those of you tuning in for the first time, my name is Kristinabelich. I'm a stand-up comedian, and my podcast, Trust Your Glitter, is kind of undergoing a couple of different revamps as I go through sort of this personal experiment. So for the last week, my podcast has been uploaded every single day to all of my platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor as my distributor. I'm basically all of my audio content is also being distributed out to all podcasting platforms right now. And in this current week, we are in the week of a new moon in Cancer, and it's a very unique week ahead. So, because of this very unique week, I wanted to appreciate and hold gratitude and reverence for the moon, because this is such a pivotal shift and very symbolically. On this particular, I'm on the East Coast, so Eastern Standard Time frame. We open up a week, a moon day, a Monday, with a new moon in Cancer, and we're reflecting out of or being we're coming out of a very big pivotal Capricorn supermoon. And so this is a really unique time. And I'm thinking of all the callbacks in astrology. It even takes me back to 2014, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the reason why this week is so big is we are legit in a personal crossroads energy. Now, I've talked about crossroads a lot on my videos in 2023, but in this particular case, these sacred crossroads are asking us to take action as we sit in lunar energy. So, the last 7 days, I've been doing a journaling, writing exercise on my podcasts called the 5 W's and H of building / rebuilding a new vision for yourself. So, and right now I'm in a meditative seat because it's like, come into my energy. This moon really wants us to really vibe and come home. So, because of that, this is about being in this sacred space. And with the energy of Mars, we are going to be working with this Mars energy. And last week, Mars entered the sign of Virgo, which does require us to make a daily commitment to something. So I kind of viewed it as, with the 5 W's being who, what, when, where, why, and how, of rebuilding or building a new vision for yourself. This is about kind of stepping into a sacred process and really appreciating the lunar cycles. We live in a world where the 24-hour cycle is worshipped. It's literally our church. The 24-hour cycle. And this is through also my knowledge of working in biology, and like when you go through reproductive, you know, biology and learn about reproduction. But also this is about like citing other women who have lunar based businesses, who have this information completely online. And one person I want to reference is Kate Northrup, who runs her business completely based on a lunar based feminine, sacred divine feminine model. I come from a stand-up comedy background where it is about the 24-hour cycle. It is about hustling and grinding. And what I've seen over the years, and it's not just isolated to myself, since 2020, And all of these great conjunctions that we went through in 2020, which literally was what we saw go down in 2020 with quarantine and with all the lockdowns. This is Capricorn energy. This is Pluto in Capricorn energy. And because those great conjunctions were with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in the sign of Capricorn, we're seeing the patriarchy in its shadow form taking its last stand. And this is related to commerce and capitalism and business. And I've been asking myself, I'm in the middle of a Saturn square, and anytime you're in a personal Saturn transit, this is a time where you're reflecting on what Saturn is in your life. So, I have to move this. I'm talking to people out there who are really working through, both father healing, mother healing, because that's what this new moon is all about. But it's this situation where it's asking you with this new moon. So we had the full moon in Capricorn saying, what are you releasing related to the patriarchy? What are you releasing related to your viewpoint of what business, commerce, capitalism should be, what you were taught, what society taught you it should be, versus here we are with the new moon reconstructing and revisiting, reformulating this plan, reformulating this vision on what business, commerce, and just really enjoying your life should be. And the moon represents the mother energy. The moon represents our communities. The moon represents our sacred feminine cycles. And so I did this sort of experimental writing exercise. You can visit it at any time. It's on all of my social media, and it's the 5 W's and H, and it's legit. You can do it in one sitting. It's just, sitting with your visions and being like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? Where do I want to be? And then today, Sunday being the how. So at the end of this video, I'm going to do the final exercise for that and apologize, but I really just want, sit with me in my home with me in a meditative space. I'm trying to figure out how to do this podcast and just be a real person, because I watch all these podcasts. It's so professional, and I just want to be what represents home as I do this is just what does it feel like to sit across the table and just talk and do a reading, because our sacred feminine is screaming. All of us have the sacred feminine within us, and she is screaming with these transits. So we open up the entire week on the 17th with a new moon in Cancer. And on the same exact day, the North and South Node shift from this axis of the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio into the North Node in the cardinal sign of Aries and the South Node being in the cardinal sign of Libra. So it's super symbolism here, because it's about taking inner authority and moving towards this purpose of inner authority and speaking truth to power. Wow. The new moon at 24 degrees Cancer is opposing Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn. And yes, do we visit? I have smudge here. Do we revisit this opposition every year? Sun opposite Pluto? Abso-freaking-lutely we do. But the timing of this is a direct reflection of how synchronistic 2023 is. And I'll keep repeating it. The synchronicity of the astrology in 2023 is just chef's kiss. And this week, as somebody who just adores astrology, it is chef's kiss when it comes to hello, how could we not believe that astrology is here to help us? Whether or not, okay, we got to get more comfy here. And yes, is this my wallpaper? Hold on. Now that I try it, oh yeah, here we go. Yes, is this my wallpaper in the background? Absolutely. So let's get, because I don't have my glasses on, because look, we're learning as we go. But okay. So I want to give time points. So at 2:32 p.m. on the 17th, Monday the 17th, Eastern Standard Time, the moon is new, which means the moon is in the sacred dark space. So think of a new moon as like sitting in the temple of yourself, sitting in the temple of the sacred feminine. If you were to go into a divine sacred temple, a divine sacred altar, what would that look like for you? What would this comfort point be for you? And in this nurturing energy, how would you redesign, rewrite, reconstruct, revisit the Divine Mother? So this can mean you got to write a letter to your birth mother. You know, whether they're living or they're crossed on the other side, and really reflect into some stuff. This is an emotional new moon. Crying is allowed. You're allowed to get those tears out. This is a water sign moon. Look, I'm going to do not that. I'm not going to do the above so below. I'm going to do this is real. This is real. This new moon is real. This new moon on this plane is real. Okay. Okay. For those who get the reference, get the reference. For those who don't get the reference, get on TikTok. That's all I have to say. Okay. The same day we have the nodal shift. So that's at 3:59 p.m. Sacred. Do we not? I need a Howard Stern bullhorn. Do we not see the synchronicity here? Okay. Like, what? It's like an hour and change from each other, squaring in a cardinal sign. Who? Maybe there's a higher force that's just like, we got your back. That's all I have to say. That is all I have to say. And has that not been the lesson of 2023? Anyway, let's keep on going. So the last time that the North Node, which for those who are new to astrology, the North Node is like this magnetic north. Think of it, it's like in your personal chart, you have a North Node. By transit, that means for all of us fools on this planet, the North Node is transiting a specific sign. That means if a baby was born today, how cool is this? So I'm having my nodal return as we speak. I have my North Node at 0 degrees Taurus and my South Node at 0 degrees Scorpio. And boy, has that gotten me some trouble. So anyway, so the North Node is our like north magnetic north. So a baby born at this time of recording right now is going to be born with a Taurus North Node. A baby born tomorrow after 3:59 or at 3:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to have a North Node in Aries. How cool is that? So anyway, so the last time the North Node was in the sign of Aries with the South Node in the sign of Libra was between December 27th, 2004 through June 22nd, 2006. So you want to look at that span of time, because when we return, and those who are having a nodal return, that means that those with a North Node in Aries during the time of the 17th of July all the way through January 11th, 2025. So 17th of July, 2023, January 11th, 2025, you're having your nodal return. You're getting your power brought back to you in a specific way. And we get these points, we get these renewals to review where we're at in our lives. So a nodal return is just basically like, is this still your North Point, or has life been lifing and you got to change some shit up? In this particular case with the North Node in Aries, as a collective, we're being asked to change some motherfucking shit up. You know what I'm saying? We need like 10 bullhorns for that. It's like, and much respect to those in Hollywood who are marching, because that gets me into some conspiratorial shit where it's like, our voices cannot be taken that from us and not even from robots. It's like, robots don't have a soul. They can try to mimic a soul, but robots, and then one day they'll be like, but we can download a soul into them. And you're just like, oh my God. These tech overlords really didn't get enough. You know what I'm saying? They really didn't get enough mother love. Because you can't download a soul. Ew. Like, imagine, like, just think of it as like a sacred divine feminine on a date with like a tech overlord, and she's like a real sacred divine feminine, and he's like, yeah, I just like figured out an app to like download a soul, and like we can just like make movies for like cheaper, and like the proletariat is just gonna be fucked over. Anyway, do you want some like caviar? It's like from the deepest depths of Atlantis, and you're just like, no, ew, next. I prefer a lager. Actually, not a lager, but like a burly, like, you know, anyway, like we're just saying, okay, that's North Node and Aries shit, all right? Okay, look, we're on our vibes and Aries is a fire sign. So, with all that being said, go back and reflect on your, and if like you're super young listening to this, ask around if you can. Get some data, look at history, see what the fuck went down, and just be like, what the hell happened from December 27th, 2004, gee, I don't know, through June 22nd, 2006, millennials, you know what the F went down, especially if you're stuck with college debt right now. Ugh. And those who are going through Saturn squares right now, if your Saturn's in Sagittarius right now and you're a millennial and you're stuck with some sort of debt, whether it's paid or karmic debt, this moon is for your ass. Okay? This new moon is for your ass. This is reforming a new plan because we're entering a portal week. And what I mean by a portal week is, I don't mean like some like Doctor Strange or whatever freaking, I don't even know what kind of portal, but I mean like if you think of a portal of time, astrology is basically giving us these little peaks this week where it reflects back into the past, we're in the present, so that we can prepare for the future. And for those like on their manifestation vibes, you're like, but that's every day. I get it. But sometimes we just need the astrology to really, really, really give us permission. And that's what it's all about this week. It's giving ourselves permission to heal the shame. The mother wound is out on the gosh darn table. She is out on the table. She was like, hey, I'm the mother wound. This is like this situation that happened at this time during December 27th, 2004, all the way to June 22nd, 2006. There's a mother wound that happened. Then you count back about 18, 19 years and go back into that mother wound. Then you count back another 18, 19-ish years, go back into that mother wound. This is generational cycles. This is generational healing. And if you think about this from more of the woo-woo perspective, we're all fucking made of stars. We all carry this information. We're all biological beings, although these tech lords don't want us to be. And I say to that, you can't capture the moon. If they try, and that's the thing, if we watch these tech lords over the years try to like do things with the moon, okay, the sacred mother will figure out a way. The sacred energies will figure out a way. The ocean will figure out a way. And also Neptune at some point will be entering Aries. Do we not remember? Like, seriously, like, look at the transits. Astrology is helping us. Astrology is here to be a really helpful saving grace in the middle. Now, that being said, also we have Uranian transits and Pluto transits, outer planet transits that are not meant to, they're not trying to fuck our shit up. They're just trying to fuck our shit up, you know? Like, if we're doing what's not serving our soul and our soul alignment and our soul work, and that includes on a collective, when outer planets, like this week is a perfect textbook example of an outer planet opposition while the nodes are 90 degrees away from this. So we have this cardinal cross in the sky. And remember, call back to our eclipses in the spring or fall in Taurus and Scorpio, where we had fixed crosses in the sky. And I done talked that to death. But the thing is, those crosses and fixed signs brought us here. We're here because of those crosses. We're here because of Jupiter squares. We're here because nodal squares, Jupiter conjunct the North Node. What was it? Who entered? Was it Mars? Mars entered Leo, squared those nodes. Pluto was opposite that in Aquarius in retrograde. Pluto is opposite that. And then we have still Saturn in retrograde in Pisces. So I'm telling you, like, look, this is a big freaking week. You got to strap in or wear a strap on, baby. Because you either take it or you leave it. You know what I mean? All right. So transits wise, it's not a lot of transits this week. We do have a lot of aspects. It's not a lot of transits this week, but the transits we have are like, thank God we don't have a lot of transits this week because it's like big, big, big time. So 17th, new moon, node shift. Then we have aspects in between. I'll get to the dates on those in a second. Then, again, Venus is going retrograde on Saturday, the 22nd. She's going from 12 degrees of Leo, 28 degrees of Leo to 12 degrees of Leo. And she'll be going through that span until September 3rd, 2023. So if you want a time point, that's at 9:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on the exact same day, the North Node, why am I tripping on my words? I'm like nervous for some reason. Okay, let's sit and ground, Christy. And I don't have shaved armpits, so look, I'm a comedian and like I can't not be. I can't not be. But on the same day, it's just so weird. Like to me, it's like on the same day, we have Venus go retrograde in the sign of Leo, ruled by the sun, right? And then the sun enters Leo, which is just like, we can't make this shit up. Here we have the top of the week, new moon, and nodes. Then we have weekend, Venus retrograde, and sun enter. New astrological season. Like, you can't make this shit up. This is a week to remember. Now, predictions wise, and the other thing is, look at the timing. So, like, let me reiterate the timing of the new moon in Cancer. That baby is at 2:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we have the nodal shift at 3:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fast forward, some ASMR. Fast forward. Ba-da-da. Actually, that would be fast forward. 9:33 p.m. Venus goes retrograde at 28 degrees. Call back to the eclipses. Call back to the eclipses of 2017 and 2016, but most related to that Great American Eclipse, which was, I believe, right at the exact, I think it was 28 degrees of Leo, which took place on August 21st, 2017. Call back to that. That's the one where like President 45 was like out with his glasses and he took them off and all that stuff. That eclipse. Call back to that point because we're right in there. That's the energy of Regulus for the fixed stars. It is about the royal star, but with Regulus, something that I've learned And something I've been warned about is if you try and retaliate again, if you try to get your petty ass out there, and believe me, I got a North Node in Taurus, I got a little bit of, the petty in me, it can also get you in trouble. So it's honoring your inner Venus energy, but it's also while this retrograde goes on and we see the petty happen, it's also like you've got to release that and be like, I've got to honor my sacred heart here. I've got to honor this inner need to express as the sun moves into the sign of the Lion King. So he's like, I want to roar. I want to be the sun. I want to shine. I want to be out there and just let people know who I am. Like, I'm the sun in Leo. It's time to be divine. And that happens at 9:50 p.m. So we have Venus go retrograde, and about 20-ish minutes later, the sun enters Leo. You can't make this shit up. You really just can't. You really can't. And so the other thing I want to say is throughout this week, we have the influence of these squares between the North and South Node and Pluto, but this is a longer term cycle. So this is really like digging. This new moon is digging at the mother wound, but we're digging at a lot of sacred wounds. And this is a longer term cycle, healing a lot of sacred wounds around shame, guilt, releasing shame, being brave, Leo season, around our shame and the strength to overcome squares to Pluto and rise up through that. However, what that means is very personal to you. So if rising up through that, for example, I'm a stand-up comic, means committing to a comedy schedule that has nothing to do with how anybody has ever freaking created a comedy schedule before, that's your rising up. If your rising up is committing to a mental health routine, committing Virgo Mars, with Mars reflecting towards the North Node in Aries, who's ruled by Mars, that's your rising up. If your rising up is saying no because to somebody who does not serve your energy, that's your rising up. If your rising up is creating something nobody's ever seen before in order to create a more positive society and overcome the obstacles that you grew up in, with a lot of Chiron happening this week, because on the 23rd, Chiron goes retrograde in the sign of Aries. Let me see, did I write down the date? Until December 26th. So Chiron will be retrograde at 19 degrees Aries, is going back to the degree of 15 degrees Aries, and is reflecting to us the sacred inner wounded healer. So we have a lot happening in the sign of the warrior, Warrior. So there's a lot of the mother warrior happening right now. Let's get into these transits. I feel like the transits, and the other thing I didn't even mention, we've had a yacht in the sky with Venus. So Venus is up in that sky. She is in a quincunx to Pluto in Capricorn at 29 degrees. And also she is in a quincunx to Neptune in Pisces at 27 degrees. Neptune being retrograde, Pluto being retrograde. This is about that sacred heart energy. And the important part about this is as Venus begins to go retrograde, Venus is in shadow right now with Venus retrograde. This is like you have no choice but to evolve. You have no choice but to face this. You have no choice but to overcome whatever struggle there is related to your divine feminine energy. So this could be the inner feminine within you. And this is, for everybody on this planet. We all have divine feminine, divine masculine within us. This could also be the divine feminine energies reflected in your life. How does society reflect the divine feminine? This is a really, really important time to kind of look at that and understand that this is a time of healing, this is a time of growth, and this is a very sacred time. So a yod really gives us this fated sort of like, this is the lesson. So even with all of these things going on, we've had about a 2-week span that we've already, this will be about a 2-week span that we are working through this yod. So there's a lot of astrology in the sky. There's just so much astrology here. And is there anything that I really want to talk about that I haven't talked about? The thing that I love is on the 20th, the sun at 20 will be over in 27 degrees of Cancer, will have moved forward, will be trine to Neptune. So Neptune wants us to keep that dreamer alive, even though we're being tested. It's like you are going for your dreams, even through these tests, even through these changes, even through these shifts. And with Chiron eventually going retrograde, even through recognizing that, yes, you were wounded, you were fucked over in some sort of way, maybe there was betrayal, you lost a battle somewhere. But in that loss, in that hurt, in the blood, sweat, and tears there, with the North Node entering Aries, you are being brought to your calling. You are being brought to your calling no matter what the fuck is happening. I have all these notes this week, but I just don't want it to be like too much information because there's so much happening at once where it's like I could talk about all the aspects, but really the heart of the matter is healing the wound of shame, guilt, generational imprints. And for everybody, that looks completely different. For some people, that could just be like having a conversation with somebody. For some people, that might mean some deep, deep trauma wound therapy. For some people, with this emotional new moon in the sign of Cancer being the crab, you might want to just go into your little hermit shell crawl space and be like, nah, I ain't facing this. Now, the odds are going to make you face it. Venus retrograde's going to make you face it. Leo season is going to make you look in the mirror and be like, I got to be into fire right now. We're going from water to fire. And like, when I talked about the summer solstice, I wasn't just isolating the summer solstice to Cancer season. I was really in my summer solstice video, I talked about how this is a steamy summer. Like, we are in the middle of the crab being steamed. The crabs being steamed. Like, if we think about, like, if we think about the sacred life of a crab, the sacred life of a crab, and depending on the species, like starts, with these little eggs that most of the time are in shallow waters or even on the shore. They're not in the deep waters, give or take the species. But in general, like the lifespan of the crab includes going from the shore into the waters. But in order to get into the water, you have to go into your soft shell phase. I think a lot of astrologers do ignore the soft shell phase of the crab, which are delicious, broiled or fried. But if you really look at the soft shell phase of the crab, this is seasonal. This is a seasonal phase. You have to earn the hard shell. And sometimes you get cracked the fuck open. In my humble opinion, when did I think that crack came through? Not that kind of crack. Honestly, astrologically, I think that we had a bunch of eclipses that were reflecting through, and I want to talk about like most recent. I'm not talking about one of the things in this particular space is I do think that the mother wound is generational. So it can be for different people, this is ancestral, whether you know it or not. And that gets into things like the witch wound. But in general, when it comes to astrology, in most recent times, I think that crack came through 2018, 2019, because the North and South Node were transiting through Cancer, Capricorn, while we had Saturn and Pluto transiting pretty much, or almost like this horse race of transiting in Capricorn's way, which is more like this crawling race. And then we went into 2020 with the great conjunctions. I'm just kind of thinking this out loud and following the astrology through. So I would say January 12th, 13th, 2020 is when that mallet hit. That mallet hit the hard shell and said, "You better open up." And for all of us in the world, we experience this as the transits of like quarantine, COVID, all these things that happened. But that mallet hit with that first conjunction. That's how I feel it. And now this new moon wants to repair that, but you can't just like sit there and repair it through. You can't sit there and be like, oh, it's going to be repaired overnight. It's really something where you have to go through it. You have to witness it. You have to witness yourself. You have to witness the experience. You have to be like, this is what hurt. This is the age that it hurt. This is the timing that it hurt. This is the feeling that it hurt you. You know, some people, let's see, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra, some people are experiencing letting go of codependency and relationships. Why do you choose the relationships you've chosen, South Node Libra? Have you chosen these relationships because they reflect some sort of wound in your life? And with Libra, often it could be abandonment, some sort of toxicity, some sort of patterning. And I'm talking about South Node in Libra. You know, when we experience the South Node in Libra, we have to heal the pieces of relationships that are like, if I want to use Hollywood as an example, look at the bullshit that we grew up with. It's, 10 things I hate about you. Uh, Never been kissed. Let me think of movies just off the top of my head of just white girls that were upset. Clueless. Great movie though. We were given this narrative that created this reflection of what relationships are supposedly supposed to be, South Node Libra. What Venus is supposed to do is she's supposed to, like, Clueless is based off of Emma, and it's almost like she's this hero character, but it's really just sort of her reflecting into like finding love with dudes that are pretty much the same pattern, you know? Anyway, I have gone on tangents on this whole episode, but it's true. And now SAG, WGA, like all these entities are striking up against basically saying we've been devalued for our work. Yet all of these narratives have been an imprint in people's lives throughout their freaking life. Cartoons, late night television, entertainment keeps the world going when we're being in our Cancer, Heidi, soft shell crab energy. If we don't have that, what does that mean? What does that show for the creative feminine? Ultimately, what Hollywood represents is a hijacking of the likeliness of a sacred feminine. Look at Marilyn Monroe. Look at all of the images that have been used for Marilyn Monroe over the years and years and years, even though she's still not here. The reprints, the reframes, the Facetunes, all the things, the bags. I got a bag of Audrey Hepburn that from years and years ago that I got like at like a street thing and street vendor. Look at how this influence comes through. The sacred feminine is being shown a different way. North Node Aries is showing us where that authority comes through. there anybody? I think that's all for the astrology. So what I'm gonna do now, do some ASMR. I'm gonna work with these Kali Oracle cards, and I want to thank my friend Nikki for giving me these cards. I'm just gonna pull one Kali card for this new moon. Let me just make sure the insert isn't in there too, because sometimes. And she's just gonna give us a very to the point message for this new moon. She is the sacred mother. But she is definitely like very Aries, and she's very to the point, and she does not take any shit, and she speaks truth. So I have two cards that I feel. This third card wants to say, okay, this fourth card. So this one says it's for earth energy. So we'll look at that for a second. This is for mother that raised you energy. So here's the picture. Mantra, did I say that correctly? Shakti, mantra Shakti. Do not allow negative thought or speech to undermine your inner spiritual connection. Claim your voice and your power to express yourself from your heart. I love that. Though it may not be yet visible in your physical world, a new order is generating within your soul. So this has been picked on a live before. And in time, it shall manifest in a transformation that heals your inner world and improves your physical life circumstances too. Mantra Shakti. I don't know what this is for, but I'm just going to read it. So this is the picture. Kali Kalmasa Nasini. Again, my pronunciations are probably, they're probably trash, but I'm just trying. It's all love. It is time to free yourself from what has been. Learn from it, but not allow it to define you or direct the course of your life. Give up your stories about the past. You have outgrown them. Kali consumes mistakes, sins, negativities. Let her free you now so you can be open to the gift of your life unfolding. This one says it's of the earth, and it is Bhuva Sivari. Apologies, guys. She is the rising sun, marking the ending of darkness for the replenishment of life force after illness or devastation. She creates a clean slate and fresh start. She protects and preserves that which is worthy of the heart. She shines in a perpetual state of divine beauty and radiance, attracting to us the most supportive and honoring circumstances. Life force energy there. So with that, that is the portion of the podcast for the astrology of July 17th through 23rd. For those sticking around, I'm going to get into the portion of the final day. So this is for the journaling exercise that started on the 11th of July. And you're welcome to chill with me if you want to do a journaling exercise for the new moon. This is an exercise that helped me, and I did it and it really helped. So I'm sharing it with people. So I'm going to get into a comfortable position. And this is just a journaling chill episode. So welcome if you're sticking around for the 5 W's in H. If you finished up, Sunday's portion was the question how, and I split it up into 2. So it was, the first one was for the divine feminine question, how does it feel? And the second one is how do I take action? So that was for the 16th. So welcome. You've made it through all 6 days of the 5 W's and H of the new moon journaling exercise. Today is the new moon in Cancer. Super exciting. We did it. And if you're coming in later and you do it all at once, you can go back. I have documented everything on my YouTube, Spotify, anything under Trust Your Glitter, even my Instagram and my TikTok. So today I just want to do an overview. So for the 17th, day 7, it's really just about looking back and just being like, I literally went back in and I went in with a pink pen and I circled everything, starting from who, what, when, where, why, and how. And I circled everything that kind of came together and like patterns that I saw throughout the building and rebuilding new visions. So where I want to take this next, I'm gonna go with it. So I know that we have an upcoming first quarter moon, and that's going to be in the sign of Scorpio, and that's going to be on the 25th of July, 2023. So I know that I'm going to do something for that. So just be on the lookout. I'm going to do another journaling exercise. It's probably not going to be 7 days, but if I intuitively feel like it's going to be 7 days, I'm really just vibing with my intuition because part of what I'm doing is recreating my comedy career or recreating how I formulate my comedy career and how I view content online and my self worth and everything through following the lunar cycles. So I'm just putting myself out there in a really big way. And this is like one of the most soft shell crab vulnerable things that I've ever done. So I'm just going to continue to create this content. And then with the first quarter moon, it'll be in preparation, kind of taking these new moon 5 W's and H, revisiting them in a specific way, and then taking through to the full moon. So, one of the things I'm going to work through is kind of figuring out what the full moon exercises are going to be. But I think my ultimate goal is to do a vision board session. So let me know if you're interested in doing a vision board session. I might do a vision board Zoom session, or I might do a vision board video. Send me a message or DM or in the comments if you want to do a combined vision board session because that's a possibility, but it's not, it's still like in the works. So that is the goal though, but figuring out what that goal looks like and the timing of it, because the way that I'm looking at this is Venus retrograde is about expression, but it's about allowing ourselves to experiment through the expression. So that's kind of the goal ahead. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this journaling exercise. For those who DM'd me, I'm just so grateful. This, I was super surprised by this. It really, like, it's one of those things where you dig deep and then you go, wow, I didn't realize like how much more there is, but like at least seeing the structure of it all and seeing that things are coming to fruition is the coolest part of working with the moon cycles. And that's really what this is all about. So the new moon is allowing us to reframe this manifestation process. And manifestation has a lot of ways we can look at it, but in most it's magical. Our magical inner personal processes. So I'm just grateful and I hope that you enjoy this podcast. Trust your glitter. Thank you so much for listening. Please, 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 if you can, like, subscribe, share, review, share with your friends, share your experiences. I'm doing also a Her Story project where if you want to send me an audio file or a 5 minute or less video sharing your stories, your whatever you want to share. I will also link that in the show notes as well. So thank you and enjoy your week ahead. This is Christy. Peace and love. Bye.